Hello and thanks for joining us on this edition of Green and Gold Gridiron. I'm your host, Brian Groff, as always alongside PackerReport.com writer Keith Roerdink. Unfortunately, the Packers season has come to an end. They could not beat the Arizona Cardinals.
So many things went right in that game. So many position groups had their best game of the season. The protection was there. Bakhtiari was back. Shields is back in the secondary. They played great. The defense was aggressive. They sacked Palmer. They got interceptions. Jeff Janis, we've been clamoring all year. 6'3", 4'3", 440. You cannot coach size and speed. He finally gets the opportunity. He steps up. Huge game. Hail Mary. Everything out on the table.
But they didn't want to take advantage of the moment where they could have went for two. I know that is something that we will discuss further inside this show. Jenny Ritchie will be joining us in just a bit, but our guest this week is Bill Huber from PackerReport.com. You are the person who helped set this up. We will have true debate. Tell us about Bill, and we're going to let you do the true full introduction when he joins us next segment.
All right, Bill is a great guy, one of the hardest working guys covering an NFL team. Nobody is more informed than Bill. Tons of copy, very informative, covering the Packers since 1997. Can't wait to bring him on the show and catch up with him.
And I can't wait for an introduction that outdoes what you just did. So the Packers lose this game in overtime. This is 2 years in a row now where the Packers have lost in overtime without the offense touching the ball. I was going to flip a coin to see who would talk first on this later on in the show.
Didn't actually flip, though.
I'm just going to open this up. The overtime. We'll talk about it with Bill. But the fact that they get into overtime and for them to rely on a coin toss to begin with to try to either get the ball or to set up their defense to make a stop to get the ball, I think that's where we go into the conversation on going for 2 points at the end of regulation.
Why wouldn't you trust that defense? Why wouldn't you trust a defense? The only reason the score was 20-13 before the Janis Hail Mary was some weird deflection off of Demarius Randall's arm, who had an interception. Clint Dix had an interception, 3 sacks, constant pressure.
You had the team that was favored by how much?
7.
On the ropes. You were right there. You'd be at the 2-yard line. One play, you win the game if you convert. Now, I think...
Are we having this debate now, or are we waiting for Bill?
I think there's going to be more to this debate in just a bit. But let's go back to this. How frustrating, we'll go with that. 2 years in a row, not being able to touch the ball in overtime.
Man.
We'll get into a whole 2-point discussion a little bit later on. I think this is just going to be the tip of the iceberg.
Like every Packer fan, I'm sure they threw up in their mouth a little. It was horrible. It was sickening. Maybe not quite as sickening of a feeling as last year in Seattle, just because of the level, the chance to go to the Super Bowl. But again, everything seems to fall into place. I mean, I felt like I was still hanging on to that euphoria of the Janis Hail Mary, probably 20 yards into Larry Fitzgerald running down the field, a play where, oh, God help him, Demarius Randall, sensational rookie who had made so many good plays already that game. The fluke deflection off his arm, going to Floyd for the touchdown again to make it 20-13, but he let his guy go. Fitzgerald slides in tight on that right side. Randall goes with him. The ball gets snapped. Fitzgerald starts making a slant. Randall just starts dropping back into space. He dropped 25 yards back as Fitzgerald went across the field and made that catch. You had Clay Matthews, who almost got him at the 48. You had Shields, who almost got him. You have Burnett chasing him down the field, and Jake Ryan, and nobody. Casey Hayward finally gets him down. Stunning. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. To be in a position, I still would not have gone for 2.
Okay, we'll discuss that a little bit further. Casey Hayward making that tackle may have been the last tackle that he makes for the Green Bay Packers.
It really might be.
We're going to talk about the upcoming free agent class that they have, 18 free agents on this team. Some big names in there. Other guys, I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that they will be moving on with their NFL careers. So we have a lot that we plan to get to. Jenny Ritchie, welcome to the show. Welcoming. We are welcoming you. I keep thinking Keith already gave the introduction for Bill, so I'm wondering how you will expand on that.
Welcome to the show, Jenny.
Well, you did such a great job, and I don't want to spoil any of the fun that we're going to talk to Bill about. So I'm just going to say that we're just going to talk to him about his experience. I mean, he's had such a fun time. He's talked to so many Packers. He's done so many things. So we're going to really just dig into that.
And we're going to ask him about his caffeine and coffee consumption. So all that, much more to come as we take a look back at the Packers' loss at Arizona. Stay tuned. Green and Gold Gridiron, much more on the way.
Brought to you in part by Hermaning Financial Group.
Hermaning Financial Group strives to help you and your family reach your financial goals while demonstrating their core values of integrity, independence, and innovation. With offices in Wausau, Stevens Point, Manitowoc, and Wisconsin Rapids, proudly supporting the Boys and Girls Club.
It's 3 p.m. For 50 million kids across America, school's out. And for a third of these kids, they're out on their own. Out with nowhere to go and nothing to do. It's time to support the Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Do you like to walk?
Do you want to live longer?
You will love square dancing.
Friends you meet for life.
Marvelous people.
I guess I meet people. I love it.
Love it.
I love square dancing.
The fun, the family.
Great variety of music.
The camaraderie.
Too young?
It's fun.
Try it, you like it.
Call 715-544-7969. Visit WisconsinSquareDancing.com for more information. First lesson free, singles and couples welcome.
When disaster strikes, water, fire, storm damage, and even mold, we take care of them all. Anytime, day or night, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Quality service and customer satisfaction are top priorities. Tell your insurance company you prefer North Star Cleaning and Restoration.
And remember, don't just get it clean, get it North Star Clean.
NorthstarCleaning.net. Welcome back to Green and Gold Gridiron. Brian Groff and Keith Rodink. And you know it's rare when we allow Keith to introduce the guest. So it means you either played football with whoever's joining us or you work with him. What do you have?
There's usually a better chance I worked with him.
So there was one other time.
Yes. Today's guest is my editor and publisher of PackerReport.com, Bill Huber, formerly of the Green Bay Press-Gazette, Green Bay News Chronicle, and we even worked together way back in the day when Bill was at the Reedsburg paper and I was at the Baraboo News Republic.
High quality publications, one and all.
Yes.
Good thing it helps set you up for working this show together.
I know,
again.
it really did. The bar.
That's where the road led
bar
you.
Was set.
Bill, let's get into it. The 41-yard Hail Mary puts the Packers within 1 point, and they decide that they want to put the PAT on the board and look for the best in overtime. From what I understand, from what I've read, from what I've heard, and we've gone back and forth already on this, there is a couple different schools of thought here. Bill, your thought on them bypassing the two-point conversion try?
Yeah, I can see it both ways here. I mean, look, your receivers are Jared Abbrederis, Jeff Janis, James Jones isn't coming because he's being taken up by Patrick Peterson. I mean, are you going to bet the entire season on one of those guys getting open? So I totally understand McCarthy's logic on that one. But by the same token, you're going to have to win a football game with Jeff Janis, Jared Abbrederis, and James Jones against that defense. So personally, I would have gone for two there. You got him momentum. Maybe you got him on the ropes a little bit, and I realize there's a lengthy timeout there for them to regain some composure. You still got Rodgers, and you're 2 yards away from winning the football game. So I'd have gone for two. I totally understand anybody who says that's foolish.
So the argument is there's backlash that Mike McCarthy would hear or feel, or who knows what could happen from there if he decided to do that and it doesn't work out. What's your take on that? What kind of backlash? Is he not secure enough in his job that he would have to worry about what the backlash would be if he decided that he was just going to go for it and put the season on the line there?
No, I don't think so. I mean, look, he's getting hammered for this. I mean, you guys have watched enough sports. The coach gets hammered for everything. When the team wins, it's the players are great, and when the team loses, it's the coach's fault. So I don't think McCarthy gives a you-know-what about what people think. I just think ultimately they probably ran all their two-point plays in practice with Randall Cobb as the number one target. And I'm not sure Abbrederis ran any of those plays in practice. So it probably boiled down to him just not having the confidence in those guys to get it done. I don't agree with it, but I understand his logic.
Brian doesn't agree with it either. So it's 2 against 1 here. Bill, I mean, how many games have we watched where in any short yardage situation they struggled? I mean, they never seem to hand off inside. It's always some weird stretch play, and I just felt like Arizona knew that they were going to try and give Rodgers some type of run-pass option. Like you said, you've got Magic Hoodie and Abbrederis and Janis running around out there. You can't rely on the running game. You can't always rely on Kuhn. To me, it felt like they had the momentum, and I don't know if they were going to lose that in overtime. And I felt like the defense with the sacks and the pressure and the interceptions, why not trust that defense going into overtime to hold Arizona to a field goal or maybe force a punt? So I don't know. Even at the time, even hindsight, I still feel like you kick the point after. And, you know, I can't think of a situation where a coach in that spot has decided to go for the win, but who knows? Maybe next time McCarthy will try it.
You know what? You're right about the defense. They had given up 280 yards in 10 drives. That's 28 yards per drive. You're staking that, you know, figure the ball's at the 20-yard line. You're staking, and they're not going to be able to move the ball 80 yards to win the football game right there. So, you know, McCarthy pointed that out on Monday. The defense is playing so well, and look, they had how many blown coverages have they had this year? I mean, they just haven't done it all year. I mean, it's the most unbelievable way to lose with them just blowing coverage. I mean, they haven't done it all year.
What was your take? I mean, I watched the All-22 film. I watched the rebroadcast. Honestly, I didn't know if I was going to throw up or cry, but you see Fitzgerald come in tight. Randall starts coming across and then just drifts backwards. There wasn't anybody within 20 yards of Fitzgerald.
No, Capers explained it yesterday. It's because they were man-to-man, and if Fitzgerald had taken his crossing route in front of the linebackers, or it was actually safety Morgan Burnett and linebacker Julius Peppers, if he would have taken the route in front of them, then Randall was free to pass that route off. But because Fitzgerald ran behind those guys, Randall was supposed to carry the coverage. And obviously he played coverage on the 40-yard line on the opposite side of the field, and kind of, I mean, he had a hell of a good rookie season, and this is going to be the lasting memory of it.
You know, it's a shame he gets that interception, and then, of course, the ridiculous deflection off his arm. But, yeah, I mean, he played a great game. They're in such good shape with that young secondary.
Eddie Lacy had what should have been a breakaway touchdown, and frankly, it looked embarrassing when he was looking back over his shoulder to figure out who was going to tackle him.
He wanted to be tackled so he didn't have to be embarrassed just collapsing in the open field.
Give us some insight into this. Mike McCarthy said, frankly, he needs to be in better shape when he comes back next year. Also, which we learned just a few hours before taping this show, is that the Packers fired their running backs coach, Sam Gash, along with tight ends coach Jerry Fontenot. But frankly, Eddie Lacy, what a disappointing year for him.
You're right. You know, if you want to start with Gash here, Starks and Lacy fumbled 9 times this season. In the first Lacy's first few years, they had a total of 9 fumbles for their careers. Where Starks had 5 in 5 years, and Lacy had 4 in 2 years. So I think it goes to fumbles. I mean, look, you can't blame Gash for Lacy's weight issues. I mean, he's not a babysitter, and he probably couldn't have gone home with them to Louisiana. It's probably against the CBA to do that. But I mean, it's no surprise that. You know what struck me is McCarthy told us that. If McCarthy told us that on Monday, what do you think that conversation was like man to man? I mean, it had been 100 times worse, right?
Yeah. You know, Bill, the other thing we've talked a lot about this year, just you know, pregame and stuff when we're chatting up in the box, is Jeff Janis, and you and I have gone back and forth, and I mean, we've had talks where we've said varying degrees of Aaron Rodgers just doesn't like him. He's too raw. His routes aren't perfect enough for Rodgers. You know, my complaint has always been, I think I could teach my sons to run a post route with enough repetition, and what you can't coach is 6'3" and a 4.34 40. So, I guess, you know, again, you and I have talked about this ad nauseum. What did you think finally watching Janis have the game he had?
Oh, I mean, he saved their bacon, but let's be real here. He had 101 yards on 2 Hail Marys. I mean, that's not your offense. I mean, you're not running Hail Marys. You have to run routes and make plays. And, you know, he made some plays. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I mean, that's just not a staple of the offense. And you know what? That incompletion to Janis was that the 4th quarter, the 3rd and goal. I mean, he ran a bad route, and that's why the guy wasn't playing. And we don't get to see a ton of practice every day, but I certainly don't track drops. But I would say that he probably had more drops in our little limited amount of time that we have to watch practice than everybody else combined.
Mm-hmm. Can he work his way into
all the things that Janis does well? But you know, if it's not showing up on the practice field, you can't play the guy. And I realize that everyone else is screwing up too. But put yourself in a coach's shoes. Are you going to give a guy 40 snaps a game if he's just not deserving 40 snaps a game on practice? I mean, what is there to make you to believe that he's going to show up on a Sunday? Mm-hmm. And I think McCarthy said on Monday that he sat down with him during the season and showed him film and basically said that you're not getting it done. And that's why you're not playing. So it's certainly a great launching point for the guy. He's got all the upside in the world. He's just got to learn how to play football. Just does.
I always felt like with a guy like that, even if you don't throw to him, just running them by the safety a couple times might loosen up a defense and give you some routes and some running room underneath. So I don't know. I mean, I hope they can find a way to get him 10 or 12 snaps in the offense and let him build off of this.
Yeah, you know what? I certainly agree with you on letting the guy run deep. But you know what? The other team's got fast guys too, and they're scouting too. And if all he's doing is running deep as a decoy, I mean, you're not going to move the safety, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I understand it. And, you know, McCarthy finally admitted it on Monday after I asked him 20 times during the year if this whole thing was to blame on Jordy Nelson's knee. So, you know, basically I said, you know, is it because the defense played you differently because they couldn't? He said, yeah, what they missed all year was a tall, fast guy who could run up the middle.
We're up against the clock in this segment, but I want to ask you one question real quickly. There's a long list, 18 free agents going into the offseason. Can you just give me 2 or 3 that you think are the highest priority for this team to bring back?
Yeah, I'd say Crosby #1, just because you can get a kicker off the draft, but you have no idea how he's going to kick in January at Lambeau Field. And I would say B.J. Raji, because you could argue the D-line was the best unit, and why mess with it?
Mm-hmm. I would throw one more out there in Mike Neal. I think the year Mike Neal had, Julius Peppers entering the final year of his contract, and we don't know the mix yet of inside-outside with Matthews, so I hope they keep Neal too. He's really come on.
Our guest is Bill Huber from PackerReport.com. Much more to come. We're going to take a break. We'll come back and we'll have our Titletown topics with Jenny Ritchie after this.
Hi, I'm Joan London. When I needed to find senior care for my mom, I really struggled to find the right fit. That's why I recommend A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. They have advisors that can help you find the right senior care at no cost to you. There's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, call 800-452-3594.
Things break all the time, and glue never works. What you need is Laser Bond USA, the amazing liquid plastic that fixes virtually anything in as little as 3 seconds. Laser Bond is not a glue, but a unique liquid plastic that only hardens with the UV light. Now fill in plumbing leaks in 3 seconds or less. Instantly repair kids' toys and keep playtime flying. The magic? A powerful liquid plastic that hardens under ultraviolet light. The best part? The adhesive is made in the USA.
Wow, that is fast.
It bends, it's flexible.
If you mess up applying, just wipe clean. No sticky residue. Call now to get Laser Bond USA for just $19.99 and receive this protective carry case free. But wait, we're going to double the offer absolutely free and ship your order free. Call now.
Call 1-800-504-3045 to get your Laser Bond USA. Call now or go to laserbondusa.com. So call 1-800-504-3045. Call now.
Welcome back to Green and Gold Gridiron. Jenny back on the desk, and
Hello.
Bill Huber from PackerReport.com, our special guest this week.
Yes.
And we have our Titletown topics. Fire away.
We do. All right. So when it's all said and done, you know, season's over. What's the headline that encapsulates the whole season, in your opinion?
I'll go for what I wrote on my website on 2 seconds of thought was ecstasy and agony. So I'll go with that one. You know, it starts with Jordy Nelson. Is with the you actually could go agony, ecstasy, agony if you wanted to. It was a
It could just be a never-ending stream of those.
And then agony again.
And then agony again. It could just be a stream of that happening. All right, so Packer fans are familiar with PackerReport.com, and it used to be Packer Report. And you know, Keith has obviously shared some of the history with us and our fans.
Bit.
So can you tell us a little bit on how it got started and some of the famous names in Packer history that have contributed to make it what it is today?
Yeah, it started as Ray Nitschke's Pro Report. And he started it before he retired. He knows what a great gig journalism was. So I thought, you know what, this is so much better than football. So, and I'm not kidding. He actually started it, and then, you know, a couple months later, then he retired. So it was, you know, I wasn't a good enough football player. It's the only way I could ever follow in the footsteps of Ray Nitschke would be working for his publication.
You did play ball at Whitewater, though, Bill.
Yes, I played guard the water and end of the bench.
Nice.
They need one of those.
Nice.
Those aren't necessary. I feel
and,
like.
you know, of course, you know, Ray wrote for the magazine, and Bill, I know I believe you've met him when you were around the office, but you know, Ray was a guy who would come in the office and stuff. You'd see him, and you know, always a little gruff, and you know, it wasn't until after he died that I thought all the times I ran into him, never asked him for an autograph, never, you know, I think I have one picture with him from the airport flying out for Super Bowl 31, but Yeah, I mean, Bill and I have been blessed to work with some guys from, Art Daly, writing for us. Bill was very close with Art, just a piece of Packer history. Lee Remmel, former players Larry McCarron and Don Mikowski wrote for us. So, yeah.
Those are some great names. Yeah, I would see those guys around the press box as well, and that's amazing that you two had a chance to work with them.
Art was great. Bill has a little better seat in the press box than me, but
yours are both way better than what I had.
But I did get to sit right next to Art Daly, who, Art, once you get to 90, you can say anything you want in the press box. You can curse in the press box. You can cheer. You can do whatever you want in the press box. So that was always a treat.
I've never gotten to go to the press box, so whatever. Yet. There is still hope for me. All right, so our next topic, if you could host a roundtable, a roundtable show or just even hang out with 3 Packer players, present, past, anybody, who would you want to have?
Don Hudson, because outside the basics, I don't know anything about the guy whatsoever. It'd be fascinating to listen to his stories about how he revolutionized the game. Charles Woodson to this day is still the best. Yeah. He's the smartest guy, the most eloquent guy, the most thoughtful guy. I would have him in there, and and to bridge the gap, why not put Ray Nitschke into the mix? You got your 1920s or 1930s era, 1960s to modern day. That'd be a great conversation to talk about, and just and I just sit back and listen to those guys swap stories. That'd be a blast.
I might even have to sit back. I might even talk less with those guys there.
That would be amazing.
That's
Who
a good,
else would you add?
I would add Johnny Blood McNally. I have read so much about him. Just a crazy, interesting guy. Used to hop on trains and ride boxcars to get to games and jumping from one building to the next to get out of curfew.
Sounds like an action movie.
It does sound like an action movie.
It's very exciting. So.
That would be great.
What about you, Brian?
Put Don Hudson. I like that one. That was your first one. That's who I'd have there. Curly Lambeau played for him as well, so I'd put him in there too. And then anyway, I think Paul Hornung would be a lot of fun to. That'd be. I got a chance to do a couple of shows with Max McGee, and for people of our age, it takes us back. Cause I'm not speaking to Jenny. But the voice of Max McGee and Jim Irwin on the radio, it just came back to me when I was doing that show. I thought that was one of the most amazing things, and that's what I truly appreciated as part of the Packer shows that I've gotten a chance to do. And one of them was I've met a lot of those Super Bowl era players from Super Bowls 1 and 2, but Max McGee I think was up there at the top.
So according to your LinkedIn page, because we like to creep on this show, on our guests.
I haven't gone to my LinkedIn page in forever, so what does it say?
So here, let me remind you what it says. It says that you're a publisher, writer, editor, and coffee maker. So what's your favorite blend of coffee? Because I know that, coffee is one of those things that I can't live without personally.
I said you are a prolific coffee drinker.
Yes.
It says prolific. It's written down. So.
I will go with Ugandan dark roast from our coffee shop here in town, and 3 heaping scoops into my coffee maker, so it's good and powerful.
It is.
You have to like coffee. Is that a requirement? You have to like coffee?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure it's on the application.
You need the caffeine. Well, that does it for our Titletown topics. Bill Huber, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We truly
Thanks
appreciate
a lot,
it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, we'll be back after this.
When disaster strikes, water, fire, storm damage, and even mold. We take care of them all, anytime, day or night, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Quality service and customer satisfaction are top priorities. Tell your insurance company you prefer North Star Cleaning and Restoration.
And remember, don't just get it clean, get it North Star clean.
NorthstarCleaning.net.
Hermiting Financial Group strives to help you and your family reach your financial goals while demonstrating their core values of integrity, independence, and innovation. With offices in Wausau, Stevens Point, Manitowoc, and Wisconsin Rapids, proudly supporting the Boys and Girls Club.
It's 3 p.m. For 50 million kids across America, school's out, and for a third of these kids, they're out on their own, out with nowhere to go and nothing to do. It's time to support the Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Do you like to walk?
You want to live longer?
You will love square dancing.
Friends you meet for life.
Marvelous people.
I guess I meet people. I love it.
Love it.
I love square dancing.
The fun, the family.
Great variety of music.
The camaraderie.
Too young?
It's fun.
Try it, you like it. Call 715-544-7969 Visit WisconsinSquareDancing.com for more information. First lesson free, singles and couples welcome.
Time now for our final segment of Green and Gold Gridiron. Jenny, come on back into the show.
Hello.
All of us went 2-2 last weekend. Keith and I had the same picks. Jenny took the Packers, staying true to that team all the way through to the end. You stayed loyal.
I was.
Now, I made my picks for this game, and they were on radio, which was taped and then broadcast, and then we taped TV, which is now being broadcast, so I have to stick with what I have. Keith is going to try to play Jedi mind tricks. Jenny, you get to go first. New England and Denver. Who do you have?
I'm taking Denver. I'm taking Manning all the way.
Okay, Keith?
I don't think Denver's going to win, but I don't think you picked them, so I am going with Denver.
And I'm going to go with New England. Next game up, Arizona and Carolina.
I'm going to take the Cardinals. Why are we even bothering picking, though? I'm a lock for third, so I'm just going to play it safe.
We said
you might fall into fourth.
I might fall into fourth if I keep doing too bad, though. But I'm taking Arizona.
Yeah, we're not picking anymore, so Keith and I are.
I think Carolina's going to be really tough to beat at home. That said, I'm going to take Arizona.
Simply because you think I'm taking Carolina. And
who did you take?
He's going to have a show in Vegas. I took Carolina. Before we let you go, I want to let you know that we are doing a game show. The G3 Challenge is looking for contestants. Check out our Facebook page. We're going to tape on Friday, January 29th, and winners advance to the afternoon of Sunday, January 31st. We'll get you in and out of here before the Pro Bowl when Team Roerdink plays against Team Richie.
Yes.
And in somewhere warm. Thanks to our guest, Bill Huber. Thanks to you for watching. Have a great week, everyone.